The Twins should look at today as the real opening day of the 2025 season because they play the Cleveland Guardians, their AL Central nemesis. The Twins went 3-10 against Cleveland in 2024, and they won't have a chance to win the division this season if they don't beat the Guards in 25. Are they motivated? Are they focused? How about you? Are you locked on Twins?
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to source for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. Personally, it's my favorite show of the Imperial Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, brings you your team every day. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe where applicable. I'm Dave Brown, an MLB writer who stayed in the business long enough to see the Twins win 3 straight games again. I'm also a BBWA member and a Hall of Fame voter. Across the Great Plains of cyberspace is Brandon Warren, who probably would like to see the Twins win 3 or perhaps 4 more in a row against the Guardians. Brandon was a Twins fan who became a Twins writer, and now he's both. You can't find us at Puckett's Pond anymore. I'm not even sure if you can find Puckett's Pond, but there's always Access Twins and zone coverage. On the podcast today, let's just pretend that opening day for the Twins is today. They're not really 12-16, coming off a 3-game sweep of the Angels and heading into the second full month of the 2025 season. Today is square one because they're playing the Guardians, who I maintain really set the tone for 2024 by their opening sweep of the Twins at Target Field that came about a week into the season. What about turnabout? We'll also talk about Joe Ryan's performance Sunday and another great catch by Harrison Bader. But first, this episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. That sounds really neat. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. I might just do that even before the podcast is over. Brandon, Cleveland went 10-3 against the Twins in 2024 on their way to the AL Central crown. Well, the Twins, they not only did they fail to catch Cleveland after getting off to such a poor start, but they even faded down the stretch more and missed the playoffs entirely. I maintain that this 4-game series is huge, or as I have written here, huge, H-G-U-G for the Twins. It's really huge. They need the games and the standings, but they also need to communicate to Cleveland and to themselves that things will be different this year. Are we on the same page here?
I had a friend who used to say huge with like the letter K in front of it. And he'd go huge, huge. And that's pretty much what this is. I mean, even a split gets you to 66.7% of your win total against the Guardians last year. And I don't think that's unreasonable. I think, we've seen the Guardians have gotten hit hard lately. They got smoked by the Red Sox, and that wasn't even the worst of it. If you have any questions about that, look up Jarren Duran and you'll find that. But the Twins need to take advantage. I almost said Rockies. The Guardians are, I wouldn't say they're like reeling, but they're definitely not at their best. I hate to disrespect the team, but I still don't think of them as someone who's going to run away with the division. And there's no reason the Twins can't go blow for blow with them. The bullpen has been vulnerable. Emmanuel Clase has gotten beat around pretty good, which, I think like I don't take joy in that, but it does also feel like, you can't throw 90 innings as a closer and come back and be fully intact. And I think that was rookie manager making rookie manager decisions, maybe not mistakes. Kind of like, I don't know if you watched the Timberwolves game 4, but JJ Redick played his entire starting lineup the entire second half. That to me is almost the same kind of concept as Emmanuel Clase and Cade Smith and Tim Herron, whoever else. They rode those guys hard and put them away wet. And it's coming to roost. There's no reason the Twins can't keep up here. I believe they were 1-6 at the Jake last year. I'm still going to call it the Jake. And if you look at AL divisional series over the past, was it 2 seasons or I think it was just the last season. It was like the 5th best winning percentage by any AL team over a divisional foe. And as you might expect, that list was rife with White Sox matchups. Twins White Sox was number 2. So it's put up or shut up time, and I'm going to shut up and let you talk.
I'm sick of the bleeping Guardians and their tweet
like that little kid
tweeting fans and their whatever that was with Jaron Duran the other day. I mean, that can come from any fan base. I'm not going to stick that just with the Guardians fans, but the people that make themselves prominent on Twitter are bleeping obnoxious. And the Guardians were really lucky last year to win as many games as they did. And I'm saying that like clinically, not as a sore loser.
Data backs it up. And like, it's hard.
I told you that Vogt was wrecking the bullpen. I just thought maybe it would hurt him before it did.
You know what though? It did hurt him in the postseason. So
I suppose it did. Yeah.
You know,
it didn't help the Twins, but the Twins had a lot more problems than that. It should be, half of this is a reckoning for Cleveland. Half of my feelings about this series is just the Twins, even though they're still not, there's some guys who are not playing right now. They're not at 100%, no matter what we'd like to see. But they still have enough going for them that they need to make a statement. That's one of the overused cliches, but this is one of those times. I think 2 out of 4 ain't bad. I think 3 out of 4 would be much better. I see certainly the opportunity for a good start today. Bailey Ober has been mostly good this year, except for that start against the Cardinals for the most part. And Gavin Williams is one of these guys who's really talented. We talk about how big Bailey Ober is, and he's big. He's bigger than Gavin Williams, but Gavin Williams is like 6'6", 250. So this is a large human, a large individual.
He throws the crap out of the ball. I did some data look on him, and 96.7 on his fastball, whereas Ober is like 3rd in the AL in fastballs under 92 miles per hour. So it's going to be a styles clash. And Ben Lively's on that list too. He's starting on Thursday. I suppose that's an afternoon game.
It is.
Yeah. So it's so I can just run down the matchups quick. It's Ober, Williams, Paddock, Scott Paddock, Tanner Bybee, Pablo Lopez, Luis L. Ortiz, and then Simeon Woods, Richardson, and Ben Lively. I mean, none of those really stand out as all that great. I would ordinarily feel more concerned against Bybee, but he's really struggled out of the gates, if I'm not mistaken.
The Guardians have not been able to bring guys across the finish line like they were doing for a number of years, and a lot of people will give actually Derek Falvey credit for a lot of that pitching development with that organization, and it just hasn't quite borne as much fruit in recent seasons. And Williams is one of those guys. He's had a couple of good starts against the Twins, though. He had one last year, had one that was kind of mediocre. But you're right. He's a guy. This is one of those games where draw some walks, guys, get into some deep counts, get some action on the bases, get into the bullpen, force the issue in that way.
Well, and the Twins have been taking their walks. They have, over the last week, almost a 400 on-base percentage. Only the Mariners are higher. So they're getting on base, which, I mean, if you watch Moneyball, getting on base is how you score runs. So
it's incredibly hard to win without it.
Yeah. Tell him, Wash. Right. He just saw it. He just saw it in Minnesota. His team wasn't very good outside of like Zach Neto.
He did. Zach, he looks like a good player.
I accidentally spent. Last year, I was playing in a league where there's $200 free agent auction budget, and I think I spent $120 on Neto, and everyone's like, I thought like $3 would get him, and for whatever reason, I just completely I treated it like $1,000 budget on one of those big time FGA leagues or whatever. But anyway, I have Zach Neto now, and I'm reaping the benefits. So who's the joke now, right?
We're all happy for you, obviously. So obviously the guy to watch out for in Cleveland's lineup is Jose Ramirez. He's got a good history against Bailey Ober, but there's not much else with much of a track record in the lineup that they have. Ober's been good against Carlos Santana if he happens to play. Edouard Julien, Ryan Jefferson, Byron Buxton have had some success against Gavin Williams. So I'm sure we'll see those guys in the lineup. Another thing that needs to turn around, the Twins, I noticed by accident, they're 3-10 on the road. Yeah. So that's bound to get better. That's really bad. That's horrendously bad and kind of nonsensical. That's why I'm thinking 3 out of 4 in this series. So that's
regression to the mean.
Yes, regression is progression, baby. So, and
by the way,
at that rate, yeah,
really, really good use of a Byron Buxton off day, the last game of the Angels series, so that he can play as one might expect. I think 7 in a row against Cleveland and Boston on the road. I think that was not. I mean, it's not exactly a savvy move to rest your guy against a bad team, but I think it'll be a good move. It'll be viewed as a good move. He's been hot, but he's swinging and missing a lot too. So, Buck runs hot, Buck run cold. But Buck plays better as he gets old. So
he does. So he has played better in his 30s so far. Maybe he's going to be one of those guys like Paul Molitor said. So
yeah.
With that, we're going to take our first break, and we're going to hear from FanDuel, and then you're going to hear from us about the Twins.
Well, it's FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel wants to give customers an incredible way to get in on the action. I know I'm geeked. You see my little banner here says beat LA, and the Wolves have been doing that, up 3-1 in their series. But right now, if you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, if that bet wins, you'll get $250 in bonus bets. I personally like how FanDuel makes it so easy to get my bets in, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props like will Anthony Edwards get another technical foul? I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Do not. I assume he's listening to the show. But from 3-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can combine your live bets into a same-game parlay to win big. So if you hit all of those, you kind of piece it together, you can win some pretty solid moolah. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. That's FanDuel. Go claim your bonus bets. Got to win on that first $5 one, but otherwise you are all good to go.
Locked On Twins is back, and the Twins are going for 4 in a row today. The beginning of a road trip in Cleveland, a 4-game series against the Guardians, against whom last year they were 3-10. So it's one of those ways to get things turned around for 2025. The Guardians have been, we don't want to say reeling, but they took a few punches recently against the Red Sox. So they're not at their best at the moment. And the Twins really, a sweep, a lot to ask. 2 out of 4. It's like kissing your sister. Not that exciting, but we're looking for between
that's
2
not
and
how
3.
I would call kissing my sister. Not too exciting.
So it's between 2 and 3 wins is all I'm asking for. You brought up something that I want to touch on a little bit, and I think this is one of those things that has no relationship whatsoever with what's going on. But I'll ask you anyway. With the Wolves doing so well and the Wild doing pretty well, SWR said, there's a lot of playoff atmosphere winning going around in this town. It's about time we got on that wave too. And that's not a direct quote, but that's pretty much what he said. Do you think there is something to this in that if it's, not embarrassing, but it's like the Twins are going to feel left out if they don't do some winning too with these other with the high feelings going on over how the Wolves and the Wild have done so far in the playoffs?
Well, so I don't know if you've seen, but Glenn Perkins was talking about how Colby Suggs smacks Louis Varland in the back when he comes in. Have you seen anything to this effect?
I've missed this, but I can imagine.
Well, so it's called the velo slap. And Glenn Perkins is like, I don't know if it works, but it doesn't matter if it works, if it helps you feel like it works, because theoretically it's supposed to give you a mile per hour or 2 extra on your fastball because of the muscles it activates. And so if that's how players feel, who am I to say it doesn't make a difference? And the energy has been incredible at those games. I don't know that it means that those fans are going to other games or anything transferable like that. But I also think there is a spirit of like, I don't know if there's a kinship among professional athletes in the city. You know, it's like do the San Francisco Giants and the New York Giants meet up when they're in town together, that sort of thing. But I think there is, I think there is maybe something slightly to that. It's certainly not something you could prove statistically, or if you did, I wouldn't necessarily believe the findings as stable. But I think anything that kind of helps the vibes, because those guys will have those games on in the clubhouse when they're playing concurrently, or when they're in the clubhouse and the game is going on, before or whatever. So they're keeping up with it. It's something they're thinking about. So I'd say there's probably something to it.
One thing I've kind of noticed about the vibes on the field when the Twins play, it doesn't necessarily carry over to other games. But Joe Ryan is maybe has ascended to, I don't know, co-ace of the Twins. He remarked yesterday to Pete Mackey when he came out to the mound to ask him how he was doing, that he felt like he was floating out there. And Ryan just sort of seems to be having an incredibly large amount of fun right now with life. And it's showing with his fastball. He doesn't throw like particularly hard compared to other players, to other pitchers, but he got 26 whiffs on 56 swings, including 18 with his fastball. And this is a fastball that runs maybe 93, 94 miles an hour.
It was up yesterday about 1.5 too. So he was feeling good. Maybe he got a velocity slap.
Maybe he did. Maybe there is something to the slapping of the the pitchers in the bullpen.
Do you remember the commercials that showed the slap? And it was like at a kid's birthday party, someone slapped the kid, and it was like everybody just kind of was like, "What the heck is this show?" And I don't know if it was like a Super Bowl commercial or what, but maybe they could have a sequel with Colby Suggs or
some kind of parody, at least, where it goes from, somebody slapped somebody's kid and what do we do about it, to let's slap each other on purpose and start throwing harder.
What about Gus Farland coming to like defend his brother's honor? Like, hey, leave my little brother alone, like something like that.
That would be fun. I mean, Gus would have to worry about getting back in, to the White Sox organization, but that would be funny. I'd be for all that. But
yeah.
So we got Joe Ryan's fastball, which I think is successful in part. Just he commands it well. He spots it well. He's got a different arm angle than a lot of other pitchers. I think those are all things that go into why he's able to be successful with it. And he's got the sweeper too and other pitches and so forth. And they play well against each other. So it's not just a matter of velocity or one factor. So there are reasons. It's not just luck that Joe Ryan is pitching this well. But there's that, and there's also the defense of Harrison Bader, who's been
so good.
I've been surprised. I've seen Bader have good seasons before. I've seen him make good catches. But sometimes the statistics, the overall statistics, don't necessarily match up. Right. He's been, if you look at Fielding Bible, which is actually the first place I go for some reason to look at how people are doing on defense, rather than MLB StatCast, just call me against the grain Dave or something. But nobody has more total runs saved than Harrison Bader. This is a guy who is at any position, not just outfielders. I think he's got 7 total runs saved, one more than Pete Crow Armstrong of the Cubs, who's coming on, but more than anybody else at any position. So this has been, another, along with Ty France, a Falvey and Danny Coulomb, a success story. Mm-hmm. I wish that they had given them more money to buy free agents, because the 3 they got have been great.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. Some fun data though, by the way, on Joe Ryan. 26 whiffs. Last Twin with 26 was Kenta Maeda in 2020. Last Twin with more than 26, Irvin Santana in 2017. And that is the most by a Twin in 7 innings or less, as far back as you can look that up. So really, really impressive outing. And the swing and miss, I mean, they were swinging at air all day long. And it was almost just impressive to watch him do his thing in a manner that I get some like similarity vibes from Ryan and Ober in the sense that their fastball, there's more than meets the eye, whether it's IVB or spin rate or any combination of those things. Their fastball, they're magic. They're magic fastballs.
Weren't Transformers also something that more than meets the eye? Wasn't that their slogan?
You're asking somebody who never has seen any movie ever. Remember that.
Did you play with any toys ever?
I had a baseball glove when I was a kid that had a Ninja Turtles face on it.
That's as much pop culture as you're ever going to get, I guess.
That's about it.
I wanted to mention as well, I saw a funny video of Bader's catch. It was a dive, mostly not on it was toward the warning track in center field, but I think he ended up maybe his final few inches. He sort of inched his way onto the warning track where there's obviously pebbles and stuff. And in the video, they did a split screen of Joe Ryan's take on the matter. And he was so excited. He had his arms in the air. Yes, there they are, Dave. Mm-hmm. He was so excited about it. But you could also see Ryan Jeffers behind him playing in the dirt or something. It was like I was coaching Little League again. And he was like chucking pebbles out of the way or something. I don't know what caught his interest. I don't know if anybody asked him after the game, but it was hilarious. It was one of the funniest juxtapositions I've seen.
There was another good one when they threw out the attempted base thief, and you can see Joe Ryan crouched and he puts his thumb up.
Yeah.
There were a lot of Joe Ryan faces too, that sort of thing. It was a fun game to watch.
The camera would catch him in the dugout, and it looks like somebody mentioned that it looks like he's making spaceship noises, and I believe that because there was if you go and look, I don't know if it ended up on the air, but I remember when Ryan was in Kansas City and being interviewed, and he said, "Yeah, it was windy out there, and I'm a sailor, and I was going against the grain like this, and I think he went whoosh, and he's just." He's just full of vibes. It's he's a pleasure before, during, after the game. I'm glad Joe Ryan's on the Twins.
Mm-hmm.
So with that rate, we're going to take our final break. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Twins and some minor league guys I want to talk about. And it's not necessarily the first guys we think of either, because they tend to be hurt. So we'll do that and come back.
Well, let's give some love to Game Time, because there's nothing better than catching an MLB game live. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food. If you're looking to go last minute, Game Time has you all taken care of, making getting tickets easier than ever. They have last minute deals, all in pricing. I know I talk about that all the time, but I love to know what I'm going to pay from the beginning of the transaction to the end, and a lowest price guarantee. Game Time will take the stress out of buying MLB tickets for you. Plus, tickets drop as Game Time gets closer. Got my Game Times mixed up there. Meaning you can still score an incredible deal as it gets closer to first pitch. It's the official ticketing partner of Locked On. And as the Twins get ready to, they're on the road now, but when they come back, this is your opportunity to dive into what we hope will be a team at or near 500. When they come back, you have a spontaneous game night, say it's 5:30 and you got nothing going on, you can run down to the ballpark. Game Time will be your best friend. You pull up that app and it'll show you what the best deals are. You can, get the best seats available, best deals available, all that in one fancy app. And I love also the seat views. You can not necessarily try before you buy, but you can see what you'll be able to see at the game from the comfort of wherever you are looking at it. And there's no surprises when you get to the stadium. You know exactly what you're going to be looking at. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
I'm not that excited about Zebby Matthews walking 4 guys in a start. That's very un-Zebby-like. But there have been some other good minor league moments going on. Walker Jenkins has been out. Emmanuel Rodriguez hurt his thumb again for the 12th time, but it's not the surgical thumb, so that's good. Kalen Culpepper, their most recent first-round pick, he had 5 RBIs with a home run. He's playing for High A, Fort Myers, not Fort Myers, but Iowa.
Cedar Rapids. I almost said Beloit. Used to be Beloit back in the day. That's Wisconsin, though.
The Beloit Snappers, yeah. They're the Colonels now. So Cedar Rapids is a different town than Beloit. So so that's good. And Culpepper had been, of course, hurt in April with a wrist injury. That's also apparently a common thing in the Twins organization. So that's good news. Carson McCusker continues to hit. The White Sox have a guy in the minor leagues, a first baseman, and now his name's slipping my mind.
Tim Elko, I think?
Yeah, it was Tim Elko. It's Tim Elko, who I think they think he's like a 4A guy because he's like setting records and home runs, and he's a little older. I don't know if he's 26 like McCusker.
Yeah, I actually said this is maybe you saw me post this message, but that's the state of their rebuild. Getting really excited over like their version of Chris Colabello. Well,
some people are excited about it, but they're not excited enough to bring him up because they could have at any point. I mean, he's pretty much proven that he can hit AAA pitching, and he might be the kind of guy, talking about Elko and talking about McCusker, and that's the best they're going to do. There's something about their profile that it's kind of splashes water on the whole fun of these guys doing so well in the minor league. So McCusker even and they probably are limited in like how good they are defensively. Elko at first and McCusker in the outfield. I've seen some talk too about why McCusker never has played first base, and it could be because he's too tall. I remember Jeff Bagwell came up and people were like, he's too short to play first base. Well, Carson McCusker is too tall. Apparently, it's got to be just right, or you can't play at first base.
Well, that wasn't the saying. It's a long way down to field those ground balls.
It's true. That's true.
Yep.
I don't know that that's a reason why we absolutely don't let a person do something. But
Richie Sexson made it work.
Exactly. And Ty France, for as good as he is on certain things on defense, he does not have a lot of range. So I can't imagine McCusker like picking like Ty France, but I maybe could imagine him standing out there and hitting some home runs for the Twins. He's got 39 home runs in 189 games in the Twin system. So, and 6 this year, the third highest in the International League.
What if he's the offensive dog?
I think that is the bag that they've put him into. And I don't know if it's, and this is not just a Twins thing, because like I said, the White Sox have this guy, Tim Elko, who seems to be the McCusker of that organization. Organizations just get in their heads that, like, no matter what a guy produces in the minors, the tools or the skills or the scouting ratings are going, that is what you need to look at no matter what. You can't look at results like under any circumstances. And they get in their head that is what, there are fair-haired people in the organization. Like Andrew Vaughn, did he ever really do anything to earn all these chances that he's gotten with the White Sox? Not necessarily, but they keep giving them to him, and not to Tim Elko, who's outproduced him at every turn. So the organizations I think they look at how much they invest in a person, and by that I mean like how much money and how much time and how much coaching they devote to a person rather than this other guy. And they say, well, we have to make that work, or all this planning that we did around this other player is going to not make any sense, and it's going to be seen as a waste of money, and then we're going to get fired. I'm pretty sure that's it.
I think Andrew Vaughn is going to go to Tampa Bay or something and turn into a decent player. Not like, the old, what was the trick with Toronto? Everybody would go there and just mash. It's like Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion. And I don't know if Justin Smoke really qualifies. But I mean, they had a stretch where guys would go there and find their mojo. I could see Vaughn doing that someplace else. He is an absolute disaster right now. But can Tim Elko play right field? Why haven't they tried that yet?
Well, I don't. Yeah. Speaking of which, one of the right fielders that they've brought in recent years, Dominic Fletcher, David's brother, got a save, like a real save in a game last night. They were out of players. It was 13-10. He came in and was left-handed. He looked like, I don't know what, like Bob McClure, like 40 years ago. Just this great, weird lefty sweeping delivery and with great movement. And he had tail on his fastball. It was bizarre. And it wasn't just like Ephus. It wasn't Astudillo Ephus pitches. It was really good relief pitching. I mean, granted, he wasn't throwing hard at all. But he got a save, and he looked like the dominator out there. And it was just, I don't know. And it's funny because his brother, David, who's gotten into trouble for like associating with some betting stuff, has turned into a knuckleballer in the minor leagues. And I actually don't know how he's doing, but we're going to see, like, are the White Sox, they can't do anything about right field, but can they turn their right fielders into closers? That's what we're going to see now.
Bob McClure was going to be the Twins bullpen coach in 2020, and then didn't want to get vaccinated or something like that.
Oh no! Well, I would hate to put that on anybody. Well, hopefully
he was their pitching guru though for a minute after he was a pitching coach. Anyway, sorry, I'm derailing you.
That's all right. It's time to be derailed. Oh, Connor Prelip, by the way, the other guy I wanted to talk about. He's got 17 strikeouts and 2 walks in 10 2/3 innings. So that is going well.
Yes.
And knock on wood for Connor Prelip. And with that, I'm going to tell you something. And that something is, thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night every night. Make that every game every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hopefully with somebody that does a read better than I did just now. So, but for Brandon Warren, this is Dave Brown wishing you all a very pleasant good evening, saying that we will Alexei Casilla tomorrow night. Kill the Guardians!